What do you think of the score? I think it was a beautiful goal by Osivar to Olympica.
Look at that timing. Look at that timing. Jorge came in right at the minute.
He sure did.
I love it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to CLT FC Fan TV for the fans, by the fans. Damn it. I'm JT. That's Lee, the ultimate fan. And there's the man. You're looking good tonight, Jorge. Jorge Top Bin 90.
And he's been out on, had some meetings or something, man.
I know, right?
All day, every day. You know what I'm saying?
What's just going on today?
Just like Honey Mukhtar against Charlotte FC, I came in at the last minute, right?
Ooh, wow. Throwing stones out
there.
I was like, he's like, not the way I wanted to start this show.
Way to kill it off, man.
Hey, man.
Thanks, Adam.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Talking about Tennessee, what a great trip it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a fun time. I went virtually.
You went virtually? Yeah, man, it was a blast, man. I think about 11 of us rented out Airbnb or two Airbnbs, and man, we just kind of enjoyed the weekends and the activities there. But before we go into the Nashville game, man, y'all want to go all the way back to a game versus LA?
Let's go back to LA.
Yeah, man.
Back to LA.
Yeah, it seems like forever ago, but it was like what, a week, 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half.
Yeah, it's too long for me, man.
Jesus. Hey, we won, right? 3-1, I think the score was.
2-1, G.
2-1. I was thinking
Come on,
about
man.
Yeah, see, I
Remember,
got it.
you and David from Yeti Clan called it.
Yeah, that's right. I did. That's right. Yes.
David called it straight up on who scored, right? I
Yeah,
remember that from fan reactions.
for sure. I think if we go back to that game, it was really the beginning of this 3 games kind of that we just saw where we saw an improvement on the team. Right. You know, to be honest, we did go deep in Leagues Cup, but to me, like, okay, like we got lucky in certain instances, right? Which is great. We needed to ride some of that luck.
Yeah.
But heading into this LA game, I thought we played well. You know, obviously we still have a lot of work to do. We're starting to see the old Malanda back, which is great, right? You know, it's great to see Westwood score, and it was great to see Scotty come in and score.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it was a good win. It was a good morale boost for this team. And I think we talked about that on my show a couple weeks ago before that game. I was like, it's going to be very important to see what kind of Charlotte FC we see against the MLS reigning champs, right? So, I mean, we beat them, Miami beat them, Messi beat them, Charlotte FC beat them. So, I mean, it was a good game.
Yeah, maybe they're not as good as we think they are then. LA,
What do
that
you-
is.
I was about to say, or maybe just Miami has the GOAT now, so they have the GOAT effect.
Yeah, man, don't get Esteban going, man. You know how he is.
That's exactly why I'm
Yeah,
saying
like he
that.
was the first ones in the damn look, first chat of the night, right? There he
Oh,
is.
man.
You know? Get out of here,
Oh,
Esteban.
really,
What's
John.
up, Greg? Let's go. But yeah, man. So yeah, I mean, I agree, man. I think I think the Leagues Cup itself, right, was good for us. It was definitely a way for us to get some momentum change from the league play, and then to come and beat LA 2-1, which nobody was giving us that game, sure, right? And then go ahead. What I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, Kansas started really bad their season and they're picking up, right? Just beating St. Louis. And I kind of see like a resurgence in this team as well, right? Which is positive, right?
It
And
is
so,
positive.
I mean, one of the things that we've been complaining about all season is like, bro, when are we actually going to get games where, like, you know, at least, you know, there's things that we can look at and point to and say, hey, there's some improvement, right? We see that. We see a more established midfield with Scott, with Westwood in it. We're seeing these players that are coming in, like Breck De Jagere, who I think had a good game.
I don't say that name one more time.
De Jagere, who had a good game, right? And I mean, these signings that we've had in the summer are coming in and adding to the team immediately, which is very, very important. Breck playing better, Scott scoring
You know
goals.
how long he's out hurt for?
Hold on,
Yeah.
are we now going to finally get our starting lineup thing I've been saying for the last 4 months? So now that we've got all the players, and it looks like Swiderski's not leaving, is there a true starting lineup and people coming in that we like, even with Capetti being healthy now?
Yeah.
Do you feel like we got everything we need from a staff? So for the rest of the season, no matter how it plays out, we have a full cabinet.
I think we added pieces that were important.
Yeah.
Right. I think from the beginning of the season, irrespectively of who we added right now, we should be a team that should be between 5th and 8th. And the reality is we aren't. We've been underperforming as a team. And that's something that we have, kind of blamed Latanzio in as well, right? I think it's like 65% his fault, but then there's that 35% where it's mistakes by the goalies, which I'm sure Lee's going to talk about.
No way.
Players missing sitters, right? Not being able to hold leads, right? So some of this stuff that, like, is kind of unlucky, but, like, you can't really blame Latanzio on some of these blunders that we had. If you go back right to the beginning of the season,
You're not
what we
supposed
can
to.
blame
but
him
you can.
for is tactical decisions, right? So I think we've added enough, right, to make playoffs. Unfortunately, if we keep dropping points, we're gonna be, in my opinion, just below that playoff line.
So let me ask you a question, and you guys in the chat, right? I know there's some Latanzio out folks that just no matter what are just going
Always. I mean,
to
there's
be
always going to be.
out, right? But say the season started from the beginning of the League's Cup till today. Would you be happy with what Latanzio has done with the team?
No, I mean, because there's no, like, I don't, like, you have to see there's certain levels of results or expectations that I have for this team. And to me, that's a playoff team that's playing well, right? We're starting to see glimpses of that, which is something that we can have positives on, but it's still not enough, right? The end of last season, we gave him some leeway because, he was coming in, he didn't have his signings, all of this season, right, is all on him, right? So
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to stir it up. Like, at what point do we sort of maybe not give Latanzio all the stick and actually put it on the players for once, right? I mean, I think he's done pretty well since the League's
Oh,
Cup until today.
His substitutions have been, I thought, last couple
Yeah,
of games, subs. I think the
Oh,
timing,
but-
because we always complain about that, and I've heard hardly any complaints when I'm editing the fan reactions or talking on the live show every Wednesday night, 9 p.m., unless we're playing a game, y'all. Checking that out. I haven't heard many complaints about that lately.
yeah, but if you dissect the League's Cup run, right? We ended it with a 4-0 loss in Miami, right? A Houston own goal got us through. And the only real game that I saw us like really dominate was against Necaxa, who was a poor team, right? So it's not like Charlotte were out here cooking Dallas, cooking Cruz Azul, cooking Houston, right? The reality is some results went our way, which this is soccer. It happens like that, right? So to me, saying that I think somebody put it in perfectly, we're on an upwards trend, which is important. There's a difference between an upwards trend and actually playing well. I think these last 3 games, we showed that we have the potential to play well.
Yeah, so
against LAFC, we definitely played well.
yeah,
Yeah,
I will say the last 3 games we played well. I think some of the results, because the stats can be misleading, right? Even when I posted the other day the league update, I think it was like 14 games with only 2 losses, and one of those was the League's Cup, right? But like you said, right, during the League's Cup, I mean, we had to go to penalties, right, and that sort of thing. So I don't know, man. Stats can definitely can be very misleading, right?
for sure.
Well, it's a game of inches, right? That's what y'all always say. All the soccer fans.
Yeah.
My gosh, if it just goes a little bit that way, it's a totally different thing.
This is, I mean, can't see out a game that's on the coach. I go back and forth on this. I mean, it could be a mental mistake, right? We saw a lot of those happen throughout the season, right? Where we just kind of gifted them those goals, right? You can't really blame the coach on that. But yeah, I don't know, man. The last 3 games, I say we've definitely been playing better football. I just wish we could stop with the stupid errors. So, hey, Heidi.
Hey, yeah, basically the idea, because Lee, you kind of coined it. I saw a little thing that Jorge also agreed. Charlotte's going to Charlotte. I don't want that to be our phrase. I don't want that to be what we do.
It's a neutral phrase, right? It could go either way.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point. Let it be our phrase that Charlotte's going to Charlotte.
Yeah.
Charlotte's going to Charlotte your ass.
Yeah. So Zach says, do you can give Latanzio a majority of the blame when he's been managing for 60 months and he's had his team for one of those months? I don't know, man. I go back and forth on that, right? Because I know pretty much all season he's been like saying we need 3 players this, 3 players that, right? If Rujo comes back, we got injuries, yada, yada, yada. But from the end of last season through the playoffs, it looked like we kind of had some sort of identity on how we were going to play. And then as soon as game one rolled around, it was like they threw out the book and just started all over.
Yeah, for sure. And I think even Melanda mentioned it in a press conference at the beginning of the season that, some players, may not be understanding the style or the system that Lattanzio wants to play. And lo and behold, I think at the very first part of the season, you saw Melanda struggling a lot,
Yeah.
right? We're starting to see that old Melanda back, which is great, right? Because, that old Melanda is a European player, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
A top 5 league player, right? And we need that type of defender in the Charlotte FC line. I think it's also great we're seeing that hybrid role that Lattanzio wants in his center back in Privet, right? And so I think that partnership between Melanda and Privet, 2 young players, is good. As Brian mentioned yesterday on our show, right, one of the defaults of that is there's not really that experience coming from the back line. There's no real leader in that back line, right? Or there's people that have played a long time, but there's nobody that I feel like is vocal, right? Like we're expecting that from Kalina, right? Because that's his back line. But I don't think we've seen it or we have seen it enough.
Yeah, I know, for real. I mean, I think him and Pivot are starting to play well together. I mean, I'm actually I'm impressed with Privet, man. I think he's doing very good, man. He's coming into the team. He's stepped up, and he plays a clean game. Shout out to Paulie, by the way. And then, but then it goes back to what's going on with Nathan and Kalina, right? Like 2 games.
I was going to say Burn.
I don't know. I think it's pretty harsh to listen. I agree. It's Nathan's fault. That was a penalty.
It was.
You're on the Kalina's fault. I'm on the, you know what? Nathan shouldn't have pulled him down like that train. But outside of that, I think Nathan has really had a resurgence the last couple of games. You remember that big save he had against, I think it was Dallas, right? Where he made that, Cruz Azul, where he made that run and got to the player, right?
Yeah.
And he's played decent games, right? And so, in my opinion, he was having a decent game up until that point where he committed the penalty. Again, in the last minute, again, against Nashville, again, for a Honey Mukhtar goal.
I really think Kalina should have came out and cleaned that up, man. I really do. I think if he had run out there before that ball had even bounced, man, they wouldn't have been sprinting so hard.
Well, this isn't the first
time. Whoa. Let me get in, damn it. Oh, JT's got something to say on the subject.
Go ahead, JT. Have your word.
Hey, all I'm saying about Burn is, yeah, man, he's got the moves and the effort and all that kind of stuff. But just the truth of the size of it, man. When he was getting burned down right in the middle of the box, it came down to his physical stature versus the Nashville player's physical stature.
You're saying
that's what led to the foul. He's in the right position. He's fast. He's smart, but he's not the biggest defender.
I mean, but the thing is, he was coming out. He was trying to hold him back, saying,
"I'm just saying,
pick up the ball, man." I don't know. I'm not going to. I'm blaming Kalina for that one.
The size thing matters at certain times, and it surely as shit mattered at the end of the game 100%. On Saturday.
But just even looking at let's just take the last 4 games that Charlotte have played, right? Miami, LAFC, Orlando, and Nashville, right? Against Miami, yo, I can't take this show seriously.
No, go ahead. I won't.
You gotta take us seriously.
Oh my goodness, that was hilarious.
But no,
I forgot what I was saying.
I seriously don't think it's. I don't blame Burn for the penalty. I mean, obviously he pulled him down and created the penalty. I just think Kalina should have came out quicker. There was plenty of times that man stands around most of the majority of the time like he's got concrete in his boots.
Well, here's the 2 things that I complain about when it comes to a goalie that's on an international spot and is taking $500K in our salary cap, right? His positioning seems to be off sometimes, and his reaction, right, seems to be off in terms of where he's located in that back line or when he's defending our goal, right? So if you look at the game against Inter Miami, That second goal, he could have done better, right? If you look at the game against Orlando, I felt he didn't react quick enough, right? Even Latanzia was upset at that goal, right? We still it was glossed over because we won 2-1. And then you're arguing today about that Nashville goal. So out of the last 4 games, there's 3 different instances that we can take a look at our goalkeeper and wondering, okay, if Andre Blake is on $750K and he's pounced as the number 1 goalkeeper in MLS, our goalkeeper is at $500K. There's more than $250,000 difference between each.
When's his contract up? He's got another year, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would have to look.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I know we've
contracts even matter in the MLS with all the tam, up, down, left, over, under, right. I mean, it's very confusing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, are you talking about the Orlando game here, Alan? I'm not sure. I think the Orlando game was when everybody just kind of stood still. But yeah, I mean, again, I'm not going to blame Byrne for the penalty against Nashville. I mean, he caused it by pulling the player down, but I think he was expecting Kalina to come off the line, got hustled off the ball before it could all happen, and then just had to drag him down, or he was straight on. But yeah, so one more. There we go. So yeah. But yeah, like the Orlando game, I mean, Kalina should have came straight out and at least tried to punch it or something, man. He didn't do anything. I mean, to get beat on your back post like that is ridiculous. So,
yeah, again, we're like talking about positioning and timing.
Yeah.
Right? And so these are critical things that a good goalkeeper has to have, right? I mean, he's at 30, right? Like with George Marks, right, we can kind of forgive a little bit because he's still young. But this is the prime of a goalkeeper, his age.
I think Marks would have come off the line, though, for that Nashville goal. I think he would have just cleaned it all up and fell in. I mean, we can also debate, like, why are we having this? Why was a penalty given in the 96th minute when there was only 4 minutes added time and all that other stuff? But
we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that.
No, I know. I think I don't know. I just think Kalina just needs to get out of his 6-yard box.
I think it sounds like it would make sense that Kalina is used to his size and using his big size to go left, right, whatever. But like you said, he's not moving his feet very much. He's not coming out as fast. And of course, Marks or whoever else would do it because they have to do it. They don't have the size of Kalina. So it's the give and take, But the thing I don't like to hear that Jorge just said earlier, are you telling me that Kalina's not very vocal in the backfield? Because as a former keeper myself.
Oh, shit. We all know how loud JT can get.
I'm just watching the field. I got to tell my people where to go.
Yeah. I mean, I say it. As a keeper, you need to be screaming at your back line.
I know. Right? So if he's not doing that, even if I'm not the most talented, my God, be a coach on the field.
Exactly. And I mean, this is a valid point, right, too. Kalina's made some late gaffes, right, this season. And like last season, we found out he was playing through injury and had the surgery. I don't know.
Okay, I get that, but his positioning on that Zelarayan goal, right, against Columbus had nothing to do with his back. He was just in a terrible spot, right? And as a goalkeeper, that has nothing to do with your back. That has to do more with your awareness on the pitch. Yeah, and we saw an instance of that last year as well, where he made a big save, looked at the crowd, was celebrating, and the ball was still in play. And then he's like, oh, do you remember that?
Yeah, I think I've seen that a couple of times and do that. I mean, it's great to celebrate I'm not going to – the man's great when it comes to, like, one-on-ones and that
1v1, yes. Like, 1v1s, I'm giving Kalina a 50-50 chance of stopping that because we've seen it. But you need more in your artillery to be considered a great goalkeeper.
It's like he turns off for, like, 5 minutes, and that seems to cost us, man, right? It's like you got to be stuck out there picking daisies or whatever and, actually watch what's happening in the game until the final whistle.
You can't pick any daisies on a turf field, Lee. It's fake. It can't
He's
grow.
Right. Yeti's right, bro. The team suffers from ball watch.
Yeah.
Ball watching FC.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Oh, Brian and his Pablo, man.
Yo, this man is Brian. You need to call Cincinnati and be like, yo, let me be your PR.
Yeah.
I'm on your train.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, we're not throwing blame around. We're just discussing what's happened, right? I mean, and unfortunately, what's happened was there was the goal for Orlando, which was I couldn't even tell if it was an own goal, if it just went straight in, and then again the penalty in Nashville,
Yeah.
right?
Listen, the positives too is that we're talking about 3 games that we should have won.
Yeah,
right?
we should have
Which
easily won.
if you would have talked to me 10 days ago, I would have said, maybe we'll win 1, right? If that. If you would have talked to Lee, this man said we were getting 6 points for the rest of the season.
Hey,
right?
and I'm
So
still right.
even more negative. He was even more negative than I was.
Hey,
We
Jorge.
still have like 9 games to go, and
Hey.
he was more negative than I was. So.
Jorge, if we talked to you 10 days ago, you'd look a lot more scruffier, man. Look at that nice clean cut.
Yeah,
Oh, shit. Coming in
but
smooth.
I mean, DC, we should beat DC, right? Which is to me is a 6-point
We
game.
should,
right?
but what kind of Charlotte are we going to see? Are we going to see that progressive Charlotte, or are we going to see that Colorado Charlotte?
Well, now that we have all the eggs in our basket, right? We have everything we're going to have for the rest of the season, correct?
Correct.
What is the starting lineup?
Well,
or at least it's starting, front 3, 4, whatever. What do y'all think is because that's what I've been bitching about all season, just the constant churning of this and that and trying whatever.
I think for the most part,
we're getting something together. So what's the starting lineup?
I mean, I think for the most part, I think we all know the back line, right? And then it's just the difference between the midfield if Breck is still hurt or if Bronico is going to play, and then the wingers.
We haven't even seen Breck in the midfield. We've seen him be thrown as a winger, right?
Yeah.
A winger with, the capabilities of kind of commanding where he wants on that pitch as well. From the games that we did see him, to me, I was very impressed just with his link-up play, right? His ability to try to do something in that final third, right? Something that we lacked heavily against Nashville.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Breck's back from DC. Do we know how long he's out?
Latanzio mentioned that he should be back by that game, right? So we did a great article on it, shameless plug, if you want to go read on it. It's about that hamstring injury, right? He's expected to be out 1 or 2 weeks. The reality is he could play on it. It would just not be smart of him to do it in that game against Nashville, given that we have a bye this week. That's more than enough time for him to be back and fully ready against DC. And this is what I'm saying. This is my complaint to Latanzio, right? We want our best players on the pitch.
Yes.
Against Orlando, he takes Swiderski off. Against Nashville, he takes Swiderski off as well, right? Why are you taking out your DP player?
You saying
we need our best players on the pitch. If we're trying to win, he went to Poland this weekend. Listen, I am a Charlotte FC fan. I am not a Poland fan.
Whoa. Charlotte. I'm confused.
Stop. T.O. Because Jorge, please, because Lee jumbled it and punted away from it, and then you went on your diatribe. What is the starting lineup from here on out?
Yeah, we were getting there.
Ideally. Yeah, you're getting there, my ass.
Well, ideally is different than what we'll actually see.
Well, what would you do if you were Laddie Boy?
It doesn't really matter because that's not how we're gonna play.
Shit, man, just tell me who you think. Jackwagon.
Yeah, I mean, again, right? I mean, it's Kalina in goal. Obviously, that's going to happen.
No, Lee, I want Jorge to tell me. I don't trust you no more.
All right, we'll have Kalina in goal. At left back, we'll have Yere, right? We'll probably have Privet and Malanda as our center backs. At right back, that's where it becomes 50-50 between Nathan and Jalen, right? I think for now, Latanzia's going to choose experience and go with Nathan, right? Then we'll see a midfield trio of probably Derek Jones, Brant Bronico, or Scott Arfield, right? One of those two, and Westwood.
Yep.
So that would be a midfield 3. Up top for now, we're going to see Swiderski.
Yep.
Right? The wingers right now is where it's an anomaly to me, right?
Yep.
If Breck is 100%, you'll see him on the wing. And right now, it's looked like he's choosing Bender. But at the same time, there's like 4 other players that have played that position. You can see Yazowiak, Kerwin, right? And it's So like that's ideally what it's looking like, right? So I mean,
Nice.
we can't really give you a definite
Hey,
11
that's all I
because
need to
Latanzio
know.
doesn't have 11.
That's
Definitely.
Well,
all I
so-
need to know. That's all I need to know.
But so to pick that apart a bit, right? I would go with Lindsey as a right back because I think if he's not the best, he's one of the best in that team at crossing the ball in, and that seems to be what we prefer to do instead of
more
going down the
offense.
middle. And then the other thing is, I would probably throw Jaws over Bender any day on the wing, just because I don't think Bender really knows how to play out wide.
Yeah, and I think we saw that in those last 3 games. We really didn't get the best out of Ben Bender, but we also understand that he's playing him in a position that, you know what, he's just not that used to. And what he requires from his wingers is different.
Yeah, but it wasn't so much his play. It was like his first touch was off. It was just, I don't know. It was
It
just,
wasn't comfortable.
at least in the Nashville game, he just seemed out of sorts. So, but yeah,
Although I feel like if
For
he
sure, but then again, like we
can
really
break
don't.
through.
Yeah, we really haven't looked at our wingers this season and said, "Yo, this guy has to play no matter what." You know, we had a period where Gosviak was doing that, but then he kind of dropped off again.
he got hurt, right?
Yeah, he got hurt and kind of dropped off again.
Yeah, because I mean, even at the beginning of the what was it, the Open Cup? I mean, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have beat Orlando, right? Talking about Yazviak, right?
Right.
He got that goal, and then he got hurt there again, I believe, right? So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. I don't know. I think the next thing that we need to start looking at is the wingers, right? And I know we touched on the debate between Enzo and Carroll last night, and I don't know, man. I think Carroll starts over Enzo all day, every day. But you know,
For sure.
Especially if you want to keep him happy.
Yeah, we gotta. So
Starting Capetti over Carroll, and Carroll be fuming. Maybe that's
it's
a
not
good
even
thing. I don't
that.
know.
It's not even that. I just think Carroll's a better player.
Oh, I know that, but I'm also saying, in addition to that,
I agree. I
he'd be
agree.
so
too.
pissed off.
But as a coach, Latanzio, I mean, this is where I come back to. Okay, so what if the front office went for a 9? They put invested money. They put the money in the bank for a number 9, a true 9 in Enzo Copetti, right? So that means Swiderski wasn't seen as the main 9 for us this season, meaning that you have to figure out how to play your best players in that starting 11. And if Enzo's going to be your DP striker, then he has to play. If Karol Swiderski is going to be a DP on your team and we've seen him produce, he also has to play. So as a coach, he has to figure out how to have both of these players on the field at the same time and not be subbing out Carroll and putting in Enzo, right? And that's my opinion. Obviously, there's more to that than just, hey, two players battling for that 9 position.
You know, this is a good question. Do we think they could play up top together?
Of course, Lewandowski and
How?
Swiderski
How did they do
together
it? How did they do it?
in Poland, right? The problem is, right, here's the issue that we're running into, right? That we'll get into in one of the articles that we've got coming soon. So another shameless plug.
Top Ben 90.
Wait, what was the question again? Sorry.
Can Enzo and Carroll play together?
Of course they can. The problem is we're not going to play with a front 2. We're going to play a 4-3-3 with one main 9.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're doing that, then he's sacrificing either Swiderski or Enzo. So the answer is yes. Will it happen? Probably not.
I don't know why he hasn't even tried it, just to see. I mean, there was a part of the season where we were just throwing away games anyways. What difference would it have made for 30 minutes just to see them play together?
Yeah.
Is Enzo up to starting strength now? Shape?
I mean, he's coming on off the bench twice.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, that's also a question. He's been out for a long time. So, is it even possible for the next game?
For sure.
All
Yeah.
right.
I mean, the only problem I have with Enzo, it's not his heart and desire. It's the cockiness. Maybe it comes with it, but like he just seems so freaking cocky. And I don't know if that carries over into the locker room, because even like the Nashville game, right? We're watching the players warm up and everything. And then as the players are going back into, get ready to come out on the pitch and do the introduction and whatnot, all the other players were cheering, and then Enzo ran off to do something at midfield. I couldn't tell what it was, but then he was the last player there. And when he's walking in, they're literally walking underneath us away fans. We're all clapping, and he didn't acknowledge or anything. And it's like, why are you butthurt, man? Why are you hating on Charlotte, Enzo?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I think that's
I
part of,
hate-
I think that's where our DPs are kind of lacking as well, where like, even like with the outrage, and we did a poll recently, just seeing how people would feel about Karol Swiderski moving on. And you know what? It was like a 60-40, 45-55, where some people cared and some people don't. And that also goes to show you like how important it is to build that culture with the fan base as a player.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like not everybody feels a Karol Swiderski, right? As a Charlotte player, because like he doesn't, maybe that's just how Polish players are. Maybe it's just his personality, but he doesn't connect with the fan base. We're not expecting Miguel PR, but we're expecting him to connect with the fan base. And I just don't think that's in his personality. Enzo, it seems like it's quite the opposite, where he's just more of a hothead and he's just going to do what he wants to do.
Term, right?
Right. So
Yeah.
we have two DPs that I guess don't really identify with the fan base as good as they can, right? And we would excuse Enzo's behavior more if he was producing on the pitch. If you're
100%.
producing on the pitch, it doesn't matter if you say hi to us.
Yeah.
We don't care. Go score goals, right? But if you're not producing on the pitch, and on top of that, you're not even acknowledging fans, right? Then that's a problem.
All they have to do is get a commercial of both of them eating Bojangles biscuits. If they can just be down with Bojangles and they understand the wonderfulness of those biscuits, they'll be fine. It'll all work out. But for whatever reason, there's miscommunication, and Karol's not eating biscuits, Enzo's not eating biscuits, and shit ain't happening.
Yeah, I mean, they could go to cookout, I guess, right? But no, what you were saying, I think hot-headed is the best way to put it, right? Because as soon as he came on against, who was it, Orlando, right? He got the penalty, right? Which, to be fair to him, I was talking to people behind me. I was like, as long as you don't come on and flop around, do everything, and actually try to play a game, and then he obviously got the penalty. I think he sold it more, but I think it was still the right call. But then you see him almost get the red, like almost like 5 minutes later, and it's like,
You
bro,
see the shit he was talking to the goalie before he took that penalty? Did you? Because I remember noting that.
what was
Because
that?
whatever, when they went past each other, he said something to the goalie. The goalie was like, whatever, go fuck yourself. He's like, oh, fuck you, whatever, who knows? And they were just, but I was like, damn, even before he already got the call, and he's
But
still.
he's got to be smarter than that, right? I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
I think it
still
goes
barking.
back.
And
It
biting,
goes
I
back
guess.
to that, like take for example Luis Suarez and his career at Liverpool, his career at Barcelona, right? A player that is gonna have antics, that's gonna like try to get everything right, and from the rival's perspective, it annoys you, right? And you can point in all the negative things. But if you support that team, the dude is producing and scoring goals. So you kind of look the other way at the antics because he's producing on the pitch.
Yeah, right.
The problem with Enzo is he has those same antics, but he's not producing on the pitch the way he needs to.
Yeah, and I disagree with this. I mean, he isn't from here and just had a kid. I'd be on edge too. I mean, lots of people move here and have kids right away, right? I mean, I don't think just because he's a player, it's the same. No, I don't.
But you
think
can
that's
be
the
on
reason.
edge and you can still respect the fan base.
Yeah,
Well,
You
the
know
thing
what I
is, it's consistent. It's consistently, be it coming off injury, coming fresh out into the league, whatever. He's consistently been that hothead. You could go, if we pulled our own show over and over again, we've said this again and again and again. And it's just his style of play, like you were saying. It's a certain style, and maybe that is the Argentine style. But it's same, which I don't believe so. But man, he don't give up. I know that. He's
well,
like,
I mean, even when it comes on though, it's all this like fancy flicking the ball around and all that. It's like, let's do that when we're like 2 or 3 goals up, right? Let's just play the game, at its basics and score a fucking goal, Capetti. Make me shut
Yeah,
up.
I mean, to be like kind of pro, quote unquote, Copetti, I mean, he really hasn't had the required service that he needs as a striker as well, right? So that's one thing you can point on. You can point on that work ethic. That's why I was such an early defender of him, because the spaces he creates, the Latanzio-esque type of striker, he has that all in his artillery. The problem is the outside antics,
Yes.
right? That ruin him, right?
Well,
that
I
kind
mean-
of give him this bad name.
Eddie Clan saying he gets a lot of hate from the fan base as well. I don't hate on the guy. And like you said, at the beginning of the season, man, I was all for him. Like, I appreciate that he wears his heart on his sleeve. He does hustle, right, when he's on. But now it looks like he's just running around like a chicken with his head cut off, screaming at the ref, trying to get all these fouls or whatever.
He's trying to get back into, who knows?
No, it's not, though. I mean, just you got to be level-headed, man. Right? You can't come on as a sub and almost get red carded like 20 minutes later. Right?
Unless you're Enzo Capetti.
Well, I mean, he didn't get red carded, thank God. But
And there's also so we have also this issue with Charlotte FC right now, right?
I want him to thrive too. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What
I
is
was gonna say, we have the issue of, we know for a fact that Karol Swiderski wants out.
Yep.
Right? So he doesn't want to be here anymore, right? He changed from, I want to win something here to now is like the front office knows that I want out, right? He's made it public. His agents made it public, right? So you have that going on. And then you also have reports, if you don't remember, in the summer where a reporter mentioned that Charlotte FC offered Enzo Copetti to Cruz Azul, right? So I don't know to the extent of how much truth is in that. I can't speak to that, but I can see that being true, right? Where, you know what, like, hey, let's head into a different direction, right? Which to me goes again, that's a failed DP if you're looking to push him out 6 months into him being here, right?
Yeah.
So you have that going against Copetti. You also have the fact that now we have 3 Latino players on the team? 4, Cisniega, we have Ham, we have Corujo, and we have Vargas. I may be missing somebody. I don't remember. But out of those 4 players, which one of them starts on a regular basis? None, right?
Oh, I mean, this could go down the dark hole.
Interesting. I like that. We got to pull that clip.
But I mean, the thing is I mean, at those 4 players, are they better than the other players that are starting in their position?
No. I'm just saying that he has, like, that's kind of going against. It was a big Latin culture, right? When you first got here, or at least more than less,
Well,
right? And it feels like we're switching away from that, right, to more Eurocentric kind of players, right? Which, I mean, there's no right or wrong into that. I'm just saying that affects.
I got one question.
When Corujo was here, we had 10 or 11 Spanish players. Now there's only 3 that he sees.
I got one question.
That has to play a factor in, a squad, in my opinion.
I completely agree.
Go ahead, JT.
My one question is, how have we not said the word Zoran tonight at all when now we're talking about this, 45 minutes into the show, 40 minutes into the show? Because doesn't it come down to player personnel and we're talking about Latanzio and what we're doing on the pitch, and now we're talking about only having a certain amount of whatever players. What's going on with the back end?
I think there's a time and place for that, right? At the time that we're in right now, Charlotte still have the possibility of qualifying for playoffs. And that's what they mentioned at the beginning of the season, right? We're starting to see the team go in a positive direction, some positive momentum, right? So you've got a couple of good things. Like Lee said, we're only going to get 6 points for the rest of the season. The reality is right now, he's not lying. There's no certainty of whether we'll get more than 6 points.
Don't we have 4?
Not,
he
right?
said that
we got 5, right?
I said
Same
that
thing with the front office and Charlotte FC. They said we're going to make playoffs. The reality is we don't know yet. In my opinion, we're in an upward trajectory.
Yeah.
but we have to wait. I have to give this whole season. The one thing I can say is that they made what it feels like a massive mistake in prioritizing that number 9 DP slot when now you have 2 DPs that are fighting for one position on the pitch. That is a huge problem. That is a huge red flag. Not only are these 2 players fighting for one position in that starting 11, both of them are likely not to be here next year. And the other thing is, where is Patrick Agyemang, a young striker that has capabilities that both of these guys don't have, that you could add into this squad, right? You can use as a target man in those last 5 to 10 minutes if you need a goal, right? So that's where we're at currently.
Well, I think
Preach! Preach!
I think the thing with Carroll right now is he's in the shop window, right? He's got what? 6 set. How many games we got left? 9, 10 games left, right? We'll say 9, right? Somebody correct me in the chat. But he's in the window. He's got 9 games to prove to the rest of the world, right, or whoever's looking at him, that he's worth the money that the club is willing to take for him to go. Otherwise, he's here for another season.
I don't think so.
No, I'm just saying, like, we're not going to let him go for 6-7 million.
8 games. I don't know. I mean, by the PR stunt that he's doing and his agent is doing, I think they want to put as much pressure as they can on Charlotte to let him go at whatever profit that is, right? Whether it's $1 million, whether it's $2 million, right? I think from their perspective, they just want to get out of here, right?
Well,
and I think you got 2 things going for Karol Swiderski, right? One is you can look, the track record shows that he's been our most productive DP. That's just the reality, right? The track record shows that he's the most technical player we have on this team. The track record shows that more often than not, when Karol Swiderski is playing well, Charlotte FC is playing well. So he's got that one thing. The second thing he has is he's a Poland international. A Poland international who scores goals. A Poland international who is an important piece.
Yeah, but when was the last time he scored for us?
The last time he scored for us. It's a good question.
Right? But that's my point. Like, he can go. We might take an offer at 9 or 10 million, 7 million, right? But he thinks he's elite enough to be in a better club than what the teams are that's shopping for him. So if you want to get that sort of personnel, like a better team looking at you and then you got to show up, right?
Well, I'd argue that he has shown up in spite of.
He's shown up in spurts.
No. But here's the thing, though.
Consistent.
Here's the thing, though. He's shown up in spite of what you would say are things that go against him. He's had to play the 10 role. He's had to play the right wing role. He's been taken off of the pitch multiple times as the sub. Despite all of that, he's still our most productive DP, right? So in my opinion, right, he still is producing. I agree. There is a higher ceiling that Karol Swiderski can play at. But then you also have to take into effect all these other things where he's played winger, striker, 10, subbed off, right? Clearly unhappy with what is going on.
But I mean, at the end of the day, this is a team sport, right? So if you get subbed off, you get subbed off. I mean, shit happens all the time.
You get subbed off, but the reality is Charlotte does not have 10, 11 great players. We have 1 or 2 difference makers. And in those different makers right now is Karol Swiderski. That is just the reality that we're in. That's the reality that we're in.
Dude, he hasn't made a difference recently. When was the last time he made a difference?
That pass
made a difference, right? Westwood's made a difference.
Orlando, nobody in that team gives that type of pass, right? He made a difference in that goal that Jalen Lindsey scored. Nobody else is pulling the ball like that and serving it up, right? Most games, if you look back through the track record, 8 out of 10 games, I'd say that we play well. Swiderski is one of our best players.
No, I'm not saying he's not. All I'm saying
you're saying he's terrible.
What?
You said he was bad.
He didn't say that. It's fake news. He didn't say that.
He shouldn't be playing.
I'll jump in here on that bullshit.
On the bench. that we don't need our best players. This is
Hold
Spurs.
on,
We
hold
wanna
on.
win
I've been
trophies.
waiting to do this. I've been waiting to do this. So now, look. It's the Bronico. Hey, y'all stop! Y'all stop yelling at each other! Jesus
All I'm
Christ!
saying is, if Carroll wants to really leave and to be able to be in more position to force it, and it's on him to step up and show us what he really can do in Charlotte, and then make us regret not playing him all the time. Prove to us.
In 23 matches, he had goals, 3 assists. So
Say that
that's
again,
10
broke up.
goal involvement in 23 matches, outside of getting subbed early, outside of playing right wing some games, outside of playing the 10 role, right? So how many goals does Enzo have?
Jorge, is that the best on a bad team? I mean, are you giving
exactly?
us
That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. That's the best on a bad team. And guess what? If we're a bad team, we need our best player out there. We need our best player out there in a bad team. Why would you take your best player off and take your bad team and make them worse?
You're taking my comments and going down a whole nother
zero
path.
trophies mentality.
You're going
I
down a
don't
whole
want that in my squad.
I didn't say like he's not one of our best, if the best player on the team.
Bro, you said he was terrible.
No, I didn't.
Stop! You didn't say he's terrible. Stop.
He said he's terrible.
No, I did not. I simply said if this man wants to make a move and really force it, then it's time to step up and score some fucking goals. You're hired to score goals. Do it. You bitched about it when we played you back there. Now you're up front by yourself. Score. Show me. Prove to me that you're worth leaving this club. Because like we said, he's the best player on the team, right? And I don't know. I don't think he's. I think he's going to be severely disappointed in the class of teams.
Let me ask you a simple question. Out of the games that Carroll has played the 9 and Enzo Copetti has played the 9, who's been more productive?
Yeah, but
the answer is Carroll Swiderski.
I am not debating that with you. I am saying that if this man wants to leave, then show us. Show us.
We need to be up here. We need to be up here.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I just think
he's just better than this.
If he has stinkers for the rest of the season, in my opinion, to get that move, he's done enough from an outsider looking in. That's all I'm saying.
You get an offer. No doubt in my mind he's going to get offered.
Charlotte already rejected an offer.
And I'm just saying, to get the offer that he's looking for or he thinks he can get, he's not going to get with the way he's playing for Charlotte right now. Not saying he's a bad player. I'm just saying he can step up his game some.
All right, next subject.
All right.
Hey, what's a number? What's a number? Someone call a number.
I don't know. Jorge, call a number, man.
11 for Swiderski.
You trolling son of a gun.
Man, I miss being on this show. You know, you like that I had to take some digs at Spurs too. So
yeah, I mean, fair. He's not getting the service as well, but I'm just saying, right? I mean, I'm just saying, if he wants to go to an elite team,
my God, can I go ahead and say the number?
No, we've already said the number. You say the question.
Don't bring it to me. This ain't that.
I'm passing.
I didn't do this to you or you. I'm just here watching.
I'm glad I get.
How do you feel about? I believe Bronico has improved throughout the season because I remember mid-season we're like, should he still be on there? We're still wondering whatever. And to me, it seems like he's getting better and has solidified himself as a starter, as he has been starting the whole time. But how do you feel about Bronico's play? Well, that pretty much answers it. Another number.
Listen, I think Brant is a great role player in this team, right? I mean,
there's
a lot of positives that he has. That he contributes to the city. He's a great guy. He's a good role player.
We're moving on.
He works hard.
He does work hard. He hustles, man. But yeah, I mean, it's true. Jordan won 6 championships. I mean, I think Bronico hustles. I don't think with the players that we're starting to get in now, definitely not next season. He's not going to be a starter. He's going to drop down a peg or two and be off the bench sort of thing, right? That's it. We're done.
That's it.
JT,
13.
13.
Got this song because I'm a little bit of a cheeseburger in paradise for anyone out there. R.I.P. Jimmy Buffett. That's it. That's 13.
All right, cool. All right, so we do have DC coming up. We have a game in hand on DC. We're what, 1 point behind them, I believe, 2 maybe. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
I think it's 2.
Yeah. So I mean, to beat them puts us in the playoff spot, right? I mean, and I think we still have a game in hand over Chicago or something like that. So this is like a 6-point game for us, right? That's coming up, and we're at home.
Yeah.
So, the question is Charlotte going to Charlotte, and we're going to go up, and then we're going to either give away the game or draw, or are we actually going to beat these guys?
I think we'll win with our best player this season, own goal.
I fucking love own goal.
Yeah,
if it
and
wasn't
I
for
also
you-
think, okay, so there's games that I look at that I'm more interested in the result versus the style of play. Against DC, that is a result-based game. We need 3 points. I do not care how you get those 3 points. I don't care if you get 3 own goals. I don't care if you get 4 penalties, right? You need to win that game, and here's why. The next game after that is Philly at home,
Yep.
Cincinnati away, and New England away. 3 very, very losable games for Charlotte FC, right? So they really need to get this dub against a team like DC United, who's in and around them, right? Because after that comes a stretch of very, very tough games, right? So for us to even consider making playoffs, that game is going to be crucial.
I mean, the other thought too is, I mean, towards the end of the season, we have to go to Chicago and play them, right? And that
For sure.
could be a big game for us as well, right?
And we have to play Inter Messi twice.
Yeah, I know. In 3 days. Wouldn't that be funny though, right? We could actually may have to play Miami 3 times in a row, right? We play them
Yeah.
for the 2 games,
And then
right?
playing.
And then the playing game is a possibility we could face Miami again.
So like 5 times during the season because we played them in Leagues Cup. We'll play them 2 games, and then the 2 games in the wild card game.
Yeah. So I mean, it's possible that we could play those guys 5 times in the span of 2 weeks, man. Yeah.
I got tickets to all the games. I got
Ticketmaster.
tickets to everything.
Yeah. But no, I mean, so DC I think is winnable, right?
It's
Yes.
winnable. It's a winnable game if we continue to play the way we played, especially against Orlando LAFC. Because I think Nashville, we were clean, right? But
Yeah.
also you have to take into a fact that Nashville was missing a guy like Walker Zimmerman who could have
I
made
mean,
a difference.
It is
We
what
also, I mean, to your point, our front 3, including Carroll, were poor that night, right?
say it again.
That our front 3 weren't playing well that night.
I'm just messing with you. Go ahead. No, but I think if we don't beat DC, right? I mean, a draw still keeps us in the mix. But if DC beats us, I think that pretty much has nailed us for the playoffs. You know what I mean? Because then Philly, I mean, we weren't expecting to beat Philly at home last year, and we went out and just spanked them, right? And so, but then after that, we got Cincinnati, right? I don't know who DC plays, but then, New England, like you said, I just think the DC game is huge for us. 1 for just momentum, and then 2 just to get us
And
in
regional.
playoffs.
I mean, aren't
For
they
sure.
sort of a rival? I mean, you got Atlanta, Nashville, and DC are kind of our regional rivals, right?
Also, yeah, and also I think if Charlotte are able to pull off a playoff spot, it's going to be you have to give a lot of credit to these guys and this coaching staff if they're able to pull it off with the schedule that they have left, right? Because, I mean, you've got Philly, you've got Cincy, you got New England, you got Inter Miami twice.
I get what you're
Toronto's
saying.
definitely a winnable game. Chicago's a winnable game, right? But
I get what
out
you're
of the
saying,
next-
but we shouldn't even be in this position. We should be up the charts, man.
correct. I agree. And that's why I'm saying if they're able to pull this off.
Fair.
Fair.
All right, JT, 20.
Oh, 20.
Oh, since you
Uh,
telling me before you were
Let's
right.
see. Hey, what is up with Carujo? Is he totally out for the season, or is he coming back?
I don't know. Is he
To
even
me,
making
he
a
was-
bench now?
Yeah, but he was the defensive leader last year. He has the injury. He tries to come back a little in the mid-season, and then we don't see him anymore. I don't know. It's just a done deal. We will probably never see him on the pitch
I don't
again.
know if he's hurt. I mean, is he still
No,
hurt?
well, Latanzio mentioned in one of his press conferences, I think it was against Orlando, that it was just a decision to keep him off and keep Toloma off, right? We've totally forgot about that man, Bill.
Yeah.
I forgot
right?
Toloma.
But
forgot
here's the
about
thing too, though. Like, you have to look at the style of play that Latanzio wants. He wants that hybrid center back, and you've seen him play DJ in that role, and it looks like Andrew Privet has come in and played that role well as well. So, right, where does that leave Corujo? Where does that leave a guy like Toloma as well?
Yeah, I mean, well, you mentioned it, or you made hint to it last night that there's going to be a big clear outcome or January.
The Charlotte FC Exodus article
Yeah.
coming soon.
Seriously, you got an article coming out about all that?
Yeah, we've got a whole bunch of great stuff. If you
Yeah.
guys make sure you just go listen. I just need y'all to go on the website every day. Just do that.
Yeah, click on all his sponsors. So
Exodus,
yep. So
movement of the people.
yeah, so we got no game this weekend. I mean, hell, the Premier League's not on. I guess I'm gonna have to watch England beat whoever they're playing. It's tough.
Honduras, Jamaica, Friday night. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, at least I get to see Kane in the shirt I can pull for again, right? So, but he's missing. Spurs are going to win the league. But anyways, with that being said, I guess we can wrap it up, man. Top bin. Where can
Wrap
people
it up.
find you? Oh, hold on.
You can follow us at Top Bin 90 on all our socials, right? We don't give as much Kalina slander as Lee does.
That's not fair. Because you give him much slander as well.
There's no slander here, and no one is liable. There is no slander, and no one is liable.
It's all free speech, right?
Yeah, that's it. Free speech. Free the speech, man.
All right, JT, tell everybody where they can find us and how they can like, share, subscribe to our channel.
At CLTFC Fan TV, for the fans, by the fans. Damn it.